Hey everyone, it's Sandra with Magnetized Soul. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about becoming a magnet. How does that happen? How do we begin to attract all the things that we desire in our lives? You see, it starts with understanding that we are an electrical being. Every cell in our body made up of protons and neutrons and electrons. These protons, neutrons, and electrons, as you all know, are contain charges, positive and negative. And so as we think thoughts, we attach charges to those thoughts. Those charges are our emotions. When we feel sad and we have a thought that's sad, the thought is really the feeling more than it is the memory. But what happens is our mind takes a little snapshot every time we have an experience. And along with that snapshot is the electrical charge we were holding at the time. Was it positive? Was it negative? Or was it neutral? And then our mind files that away in our brain. So when we're having a thought, we create a little neural pathway in our brain. And the more times we repeat that thought, the thicker that little neural pathway gets. And so the more times we think the thought and the thicker that neural pathway gets, the stronger that thought and the emotion that's attached to it gets. That then becomes a belief. And beliefs that are repeated over and over and over again, what happens to them? They become automatic thoughts. We don't even realize that we're having them. And here's where the problem with manifestation comes into play, is if we are having subconscious thoughts that we're not even aware of, we may be repelling the exact things that we really truly desire in our mind. But our subconscious mind is very, very powerful, and it's running this program in the background all the time. You see, from the time we were born as a baby, we've been fed thoughts. We were fed these thoughts by our family, by our friends, by society itself. It's almost like we had an IV inserted into our veins from the time we were born. And we were drip fed all these thoughts. By the time we were 5, we had most of our beliefs in place already. But here's the dichotomy. We didn't even have the capacity at that point in time to cognitively determine whether these thoughts were true or false. When we're young, up to the age of 5, we just take everything as truth, no matter what is said to us. We're like little sponges. And so, like I said, by the time we're age 5, we have a lot of these unconscious beliefs already running in the background. So what do we do to uncover them? Because this is really where the holdup is in manifestation. So when we're like magnets, and think about a magnet. It's got a positive end and a negative end. And the positive end, it attracts everything that's similar to it, right? But anything that isn't a positive charge, it pushes it away on the negative end. So what our minds are doing the same thing. When we're thinking, I'm worthy, and in the background of our subconscious, we have another little program that's saying, no, that's not really true. You're not worthy. You're not enough. That's the program that speaks the loudest to our connection to the universe. So if we really want to manifest something, we have to get to the root of our real thoughts. And how do we do that? Well, I think the real way to do this is to begin writing down all of our thoughts throughout the day. When you have a big charge on something and you're reacting, maybe it's an argument with your spouse or a child, or maybe you're having some trouble at work, start a journal and just write down what was the thought that I was having and what was happening at the time, and just kind of keep a log of your thoughts for a month or two, and then go back and read what you wrote, and you'll begin to identify thought patterns. Oh, my boss told me that my work was blah, 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 and I felt unworthy. I felt not enough. As you begin to identify those thoughts, then you can begin to do meditation. Meditation is where we can really go in to the deepest part of our mind and begin to unwind the program that's running. And I like to do this through the use of mindfulness. Mindfulness is a way to transform your life. And mindfulness is really just becoming aware of your thoughts. What are the thoughts that we're having that are sticky thoughts? I call them sticky thoughts. They get caught in my head, and then I start to ruminate on them. And I start thinking about the past, and then I start projecting into the future, and all of a sudden my mind is just full of all this stuff. But mindfulness teaches us to really become aware of those thoughts, take a pause to really understand, what am I feeling? That thought carries a charge. That charge is your emotion, and you're going to feel it somewhere in your body. So the goal is, when you're having a strong emotion, what's my thought? Take a deep breath. Take several deep breaths. Deep breathing, 2 or 3 breaths, will activate your autonomic nervous system and take you out of fight or flight. Take those deep breaths and then ask yourself, what triggered me? Why am I triggered? What is behind this thought? It's always going to come back to something about our childhood. I guarantee it. We're not enough. I grew up with an alcoholic father. I learned not to speak up. I learned that I needed to be quiet. I learned that he was more important than me. I learned to be subservient. It has taken me years, and I'm still not done, learning how to unwind all of those thoughts. And that's why I'm doing this, because I want to help other people who, like me, often feel that they don't have a voice. I couldn't manifest anything. And you know what? I learned this. I began to understand that I am a magnet, and every thought I think is either coming, every thought I think is what I'm attracting to me. If I think I'm not enough, guess what's going to happen? If you think you're not enough, the world's going to show you. They're going to bring that to you. They're going to show you you're not enough. So change that thought. Begin to replace it. Do some meditations. Do some work. And begin to change that narrative to say, I am enough. I am worthy. And when you start doing that, you begin to attract things that show you you are enough, that you are worthy. Because you know what? You are. You are so worthy. We all are. We're worthy of everything. I manifested this house. I did it by visualizing it, by believing that I'm worthy enough. I believe that I make enough money, that enough money will always show up to me, that the universe will provide for me. I could see myself cooking here for my family. I could see myself creating artwork and music here. And by doing that, this beautiful home arrived, but it wasn't by chance. It's because I brought it to me, and you can do that too. And that's what I really want you to know. You too are a magnet, and you can bring anything and everything that you desire into your life just by changing your thoughts. Because your thoughts, they do create your reality. And whatever you think is what's going to be. Become conscious of what you're thinking. And take time to really investigate. Is it hard? Yes. Is it sometimes painful? Yes. Is it worth it? Absolutely. So I encourage you to become the magnet that you truly are. Thank you.